But what I did learn was sometimes you just got to go scared.
It's always something that's not right. So it leads to no relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you have a relationship, you come with a different expectation.
Because a grace period for me to be late on my job, it's not there for me to abuse every day.
Mm-hmm.
It's there for in the event that something happens, that there's grace so that I can recover from that. Hopefully.
If you got something to talk about and you want to come holler at us, let us know.
You have to have courage. Because you first have to be honest with yourself, and say, it's always you.
Prophetic needs grounding.
Yeah.
And order with it.
Yeah.
So that it can be understood a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's too much going on at one time, and it's like what you said, a free for all.
It's confusion.
It's confusion, number one, and God is not in confusion.
Yeah,
it's not.
I heard you having sex. Now, is it true? I'd rather hear it from the horse's mouth.
Gee whiz.
Not that I'm calling to pray for you, sis, and say, look,
I haven't seen you in a while, just making sure you're all right.
Well, I'm not a professional. I never even thought I'd write a book.
From the womb to the tomb, boy, they
help us all.
They make you pray for they even get here.
Surely.
Yeah, I understand. So would you identify that as your den moment? Like that kind of like the place where you met God and something shifted in you forever? Like, like I've been a Christian all up until this point, and I pray and I worship, and me and Jesus cool. But was that the season of like digging into a relationship with God, or was it prior to that?
I think I've had multiple den experiences, but there was one particular instance where I remember being a bit distant from God. I think because I have been in church my whole life, I was very tired of the tradition of men, very tired of going through the motions of, just the things of church. Like, I mean, going through, just church politics and all of the things. I stopped going to church for some years.
Really?
I did, because I was just tired. And when we moved, I traveled to a lot of different churches. And by that point, my kids were teenagers. And it was a lot of effort to get them out of the bed to even come to church. They didn't see the value in it. They didn't see, how it would change their lives. They didn't see the significance of God or anything like that. And so when I would go to these different churches and then God not even show up, it's like, okay, I'm wasting my time and I'm fighting with these kids because they don't want to go anyway. Let me just stay home, because I don't feel like it. And if God ain't showing up to his own house, why am I going? And so
that's a word, but that's another day.
I just started staying home. But I think in the midst of me staying home, and I was still connected to God, but probably not as focused or not as intentional as I had been in the past. There was one particular instance after we moved to Maryland that we came back to Michigan for a visit, and then we were headed back, and it was in the winter. And of course, in the winter, it gets dark a bit earlier, and the roads were slick, and we were driving back. And so I must have had driven for probably most of the trip, and then my husband took over driving. And so while I'm dozing off in the passenger side, I kind of feel we were in a pickup truck, and my two kids were in the back seat, and they were sleeping. One of them, of course, took the seatbelt off because he don't listen, but he wanted to be comfortable in the back seat, so he took his seatbelt off. And while I'm, kind of dozing off in the passenger seat, I feel the back end of the truck swaying, and so I kind of open my eyes a little bit, and then I see my husband like kind of trying to regain control of the car. And so the car swerved. I mean, it's a pickup truck, so it swerves this way and then it swerves that way. And then the next thing I know, the truck begins to flip. Not one time, not 2 times, 3 times the truck flipped. And so in the midst of the flip, I'm just thinking, God, are we going to make it? And Lord, I know that I'm not 100% right with you. And all these things happen in like split second. And then when the truck finally lands in the grassy median, like we kind of just sit there and we're all trying to contain ourselves and like pull ourselves together. I think my wig came off, and then I'm, I'm reaching over here trying to grab my phone. And then from the back seat, I hear one of my kids crying. And so when I look back, of course, the one that didn't have the seatbelt on, his nose is bloody. And, we're trying to figure out if everybody's okay. And so I finally find my phone and we call 911. And the truck is totaled. All of the equipment that we were carrying in the back of the truck strewn across the highway. All of us walked out alive.
Jesus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I think, having that situation happen and having all of us walk away with our lives, not a scratch, not a bruise. One of my kids had some goldfish with them, and the goldfish were in the jar with the top on it, and the goldfish were even alive, and they were still swimming around. We called the goldfish Grace and Mercy, but they were still alive after the car accident. And I knew, like, Lord, today could have been a very different day for us. I could have been planning funerals. I could have met you and not met you or seen you in peace. Please, Lord, thank you for your mercy. And
wow.
Get me together.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let us never have to feel this feeling again.
Yeah. So I think that was one of the pivotal moments for me. I didn't go straight back to church, but I went straight back to God, which is a difference.
So what does that look like for, people who may be watching and they're like, I love God, but I hate church? Like, how did that reconnection happen to you, from you to God? And then what compelled you to want to go back to church after you reconnected with God?
One of the things that I know is that you can't be your best self by yourself. And so you definitely need a community of believers, strong believers, to keep you encouraged, motivated, and people just to walk with you through life. From my traditional church background, we didn't really have that. I mean, we had people that we sat next to at church on Sunday, but did we know them outside of Sunday service? Probably not really, because we didn't do life with these people. We saw them on Sunday, on Thursday, but other than that, I don't think we really knew them. And so having a community of believers that I knew outside of church was something that was very important to me. And so I think going back and reconnecting to a body of believers to like kind of help me pray through my life, help me pray through my issues, struggles, etc. And then people that I could actually be honest with, that was something that was a treasure. And so reconnecting back to that community was huge for me. And I'm grateful for the people that I can trust.
Yeah. So I had a question. You said something about God not being there. What does that look like to you? God being there versus God not being there. Like, how does that unfold?
So it does not unfold, because if the Lord does not show up to his house, there is no anointing. There is no presence of God. There's dry singing. There's dry worship. There's going through the motions of doing all of these religious things, but there's nothing, no spirit there to connect to, nothing to change you. So I felt like that was a big waste of time. Like, and then the messages, like, what are y'all even talking about? Like, they would read scripture and then the messages wouldn't
even go with the scripture.
Right. It's like, well, what are we talking about here? So I was very disappointed by that. And that was one of the other reasons why I stopped going to church, because I was just so disappointed. I was very disappointed.
Yeah. So what did your reconnection to God look like after the accident? Like, what did you do to re-engage?
Well, I definitely started back to my early morning prayers, back to my Bible study, back to doing the things that I knew that would keep me close to God. So being intentional about worship, being intentional about not just, going through the motions of reading the Bible, but really digging into the word not just, checking off a list that I read my Bible and had my devotional time, like really like digging into the word for the things that I needed from God in that season.
Was application important to you in that season, knowing that coming out of, when you first discovered in college that I've been going to church, but I really hadn't figured out how to apply this to my life? How did that show up in like your personal time after the accident? Like, what were you doing to make sure that it wasn't just, like you said, checking off a box, but it was really like, I am applying this word or I'm applying this prayer to my life?
I think I really had to be intentional about taking the word as it says or taking the word as it is, and then really saying, okay, if the word says this in this situation, this is how I'm supposed to act. Because I think for a lot of my life, it's like, the word, but you can hear a lot of word and never do any of it. It's like, if you're not a doer, it doesn't make any difference to have all of this word and then never act on it.
Yeah.
And so making those adjustments to my life and actually going through, I know I went through a season where I went through the things that are fruits of the spirit and saying, okay, where is this in my life? And so am I patient with these kids? No, I'm not patient with these kids. Am I loving? I'm grouchy. I'm not loving. Am I, long suffering? I don't want to be long suffering. So I think, really looking at those areas in my life where if I'm supposed to be saved and if I'm supposed to have the Holy Ghost, where's the fruit in my life? Am I seeing the fruit in my life? And if I'm not, I need to make the application of the word so that I don't just say I've been in church all my life and then have no fruit behind it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So where did the book come from? I see this. You can see this book sitting here, looking at everyone.
Right.
So where did this book derive from?
So the book derived from, I've been a lifelong journaler. So the book derived from just notes from my journal. And so these are the things that I wish I knew as a new believer. I wish I knew that my life didn't have to be perfect. I wish I knew that, jealousy among women is misdirected hate because we're supposed to be hating the devil and not hating each other. I wish I knew that, the rules don't save you. All of the things, like there's a lot of different things that I wish I knew. I wish I knew that purity culture and following purity culture would not necessarily get me the life that I wanted, because I followed the tenets of, I followed it to a point because obviously I had my son the same year that I got engaged and got married, but still there was just that standard of, conduct yourself in this way and eventually your life will turn out X, Y, and Z. And it did not turn out like that at all. So the book is the things that I wish somebody would have told me as a new believer.
When did you get the prompting in your spirit, so to speak, to write a book versus just journaling?
Right. So I've always been a journaler, and the prompting to write the book kind of came from me now being a woman of a certain age. I know that it's my responsibility to pour back into the next generation. And so seeing young women around church doing the things, serving, being beautiful, worshiping, I know that there's some questions somewhere in there. And so I wrote the book that I wish I had back when I was, newly saved or, a young woman in church.
Yeah. So just because purity culture is always such a great topic to talk about, do you find that purity culture and the indoctrination of it still shows up in your life now, or do you feel like once you identified purity culture that and decided not to participate in it anymore, that you were just like free from it and it was over?
I think it affected me in marriage because in the context of being vulnerable and open and intimate, you can't do that unless you're transparent and honest and willing to be vulnerable. And I think because purity culture said, say no, no, no. When it was a time to say yes, I'm like,
It's the devil.
I don't feel comfortable with this yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. And so it took some years of unlearning
Mhm.
that, if you're married, of course, sex is good in marriage. We weren't taught that. We were taught the fear of it. We weren't taught about our bodies. And if you ask any questions about it, what you need to know that for? Why are you asking questions?
You ain't there yet.
You out there doing something? Like, what do you need all this information for? But information is something to keep you educated, not necessarily, it wouldn't make me like go out and do X, Y, and Z. I just wanted to know certain things. And when I asked questions, I was met with a side eye. You ain't even say, what you asking these kind of questions for?
Who was that from? All the side eyes.
Side eye was from mentors. And then, mom will tell you certain things, but maybe not the things that you want to know.
That's how my mama was.
Yeah, she would tell you
that's
so
not
much.
my question.
Right.
Right.
You get to know so much.
Question.
Yeah, you get to know so much. But parents are only as comfortable as they are, and they can only give you the information that they're comfortable with sharing. And so a lot of that knowledge is self-taught, I guess, and then you figure it out as you go. And I understand now that the beauty of marriage and not having an intimate relationship outside of marriage is that you learn your partner as you grow, evolve, mature.
Yeah.
You learn each other together, not somebody exactly, not individually.
Purity culture was kind of pushed for girls, women.
For
because
sure.
The crazy part about it, though, I feel like I have effects of some type of, even if it wasn't purity culture, just the way
church
we grew up.
Like for sure.
My dad wasn't saved. Our dad wasn't saved, but mom was. So he would talk raunchy. He would say, turn the page, such and such in the Jet magazine, and this is where
48 and 49.
bathing suit.
I see.
Beauty of the week.
Yeah, yep. He would tell us some of his capades, not much detail. And then you had the polar opposite where there was not much said. And I kind of went to that side because my dad's side
from his
was kind of a little crazy, like a little bit out there for me.
Yeah.
It was a little bit too much for me, actually.
Yeah.
And I used to think like, I'm 8. Why are you talking to me like this? I'm 11.
Crazy.
Why are you saying certain things to me?
Yeah.
I'm 12. This doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
So in turn, it made me turn
inward
and to reject that, but also it made me feel like I had to live up when you start talking about the church thing. Once you gotta live up to a certain thing, like what you were talking about. So to me, I had struggles with that as well.
Wow.
Like even the marriage, like opening up and being free and feeling okay and feeling like, am I going to be accepted? And I feel kind of like, ooh, am I supposed to be doing this?
Right.
Can I still be saved? And you know what I mean? Like, and it was a mental battle, and it took years for me to come out of it. Not just, it's all right.
Yeah.
No,
they really think a switch flips.
It doesn't,
and it does not.
It's like embedded in almost in your DNA. Almost, like you have to unlearn so much stuff
for sure.
So but it was more of a woman thing. But for me, it was a real thing as well. Like, and then not necessarily purity culture, but the culture of church, and then the way we grew up.
Yeah, and I think for me personally, like we were very heavily taught purity culture. If it's not a husband or a wife, it's a distraction.
Right.
Like literally, don't date, don't tell nobody you like them, don't like. There's no reason for you to even visit this side of the railroad tracks. Go sit down, like for real. And so, but I realized in college that it's very easy to stay safe when you don't have temptation knocking at your door, because I was so used to being like, no. And then the guys that was at church understood my no. And so then it was just like all was well with the world and I am being successfully saved. And then I got to college and the guys was like, what is you talking about? Like, what you mean? No, like I can convince you of a yes. And it was like, well, wait a minute. I ain't never tried to be convinced before. Like, I don't.
I ain't never tried to be convinced.
Yeah, like
Right.
ain't nobody ever walked up on me with a ultimatum
Or
and
gray sweatpants.
yeah, hello. Like, look, and now you're experiencing that where you have the freedom of being alone, or not having a curfew, or and
no freedom to all freedom.
yeah, and you don't know what to do. Like,
Yes,
it
that is
was
culture
so
shock.
much confusion
That is
when it
culture
came
shock,
to
boy.
relationships and sex and all that. Like, when I got to college, it was just like, I think I know what's right, but this also feels very right. And I don't know. I've never been approached with this before, and I don't have nobody to explain this side of the coin to me,
Right.
because they send you to college and be like, all right, good luck.
Yeah.
And you like, I can't even make a phone call and like ask questions. Like, you grown now.
Yeah.
Figure it out. And it's like, it was tough. Like, it was very tough. And then, like, on the college campus, you are at your church, you are the majority. Your youth group is the majority. Y'all all saved together. When
Not
you
on
get to
campus.
college,
Not on campus.
it's 24,000 students, and the gospel choir got 49 people in it. Like, you are no longer the majority.
And 13 of them are saved.
Correct. And 12 got the Holy Ghost.
Yep, and the rest of them out there partying with everybody else.
Yep.
So it's like, now what do I do? And who am I supposed to go to and ask these questions to? So, yeah, no, purity culture was trash for me.
It definitely set you up for the okie doke.
It does. And I feel like I still feel remnants and the effects of purity culture, even in my day to day, when it comes to like being vulnerable, even with like friends. And like, we were so shown this like strong front.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you'll never let them see you sweat, and you can't never let the devil know what you're doing or what you're thinking. And so it's just like, even in situations where it's like, I just asked you how your day was, and it's like,
Blessed and highly favored.
yeah, empowered to prosper. And it's like, okay,
God is still on the throne.
all right, never mind. Don't worry about it. So,
A bad day. What's a bad day?
Yeah,
when you got Christ.
yeah, you could have not been here.
Right.
Like,
So
what happened?
That resolves all the problems.
Right. So, yeah.
So what was the hardest chapter to write
That's
for
a
this
good question.
for this book? What would you say was the hardest chapter to kind of dig through and write?
I don't think it was hard to write. I think it was more hard for me to allow, some of my family to read the book.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't hard for me to write it because it was, it was my life experience. So I think kind of revisiting some of those things was difficult to write, but it was also very therapeutic for me because that's how I process stuff, by writing.
Mm-hmm.
So it was good for me just to get it out, because in the midst of me, not wanting to use my voice because I'm from the children should be seen and not heard generation.
Mm-hmm.
What I had to say, I always felt like it wasn't important.
Mm.
My voice wasn't worth hearing.
Mm-hmm.
What I had to say, I might as well go somewhere and sit down.
Mm-hmm.
But the Lord had a different plan. He had a different thing, because when I finally knew that I'm supposed to write a book, he wouldn't give me any peace until I got it done. And then with the added pressure of Erica on my back talking about, get done, when you gonna get done with this book? And then the rest of the family pushing me and encouraging me. I mean, it was just what I needed. And so there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very well written book. Seriously, like hearing some of the stuff in it, you read the first chapter, and I was sitting there like, then what happened?
Right. Like, keep reading, and it was
yeah.
like, that was it. And it's like, huh?
Because it was an experience. I think the first chapter was an experience that you had when you were younger.
Mm-hmm.
And we've experienced some of the same things. We grew up in the same house, even though we probably about 10-year difference.
Right.
But there were still some of the similar experiences, I'll say. And I experienced some of what you experienced, but in a different way.
Right.
But hearing it was like, wow, that's something.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was kind of fresh and new to me because I had my perspective on what happened, and then hearing your perspective. Because I don't know if we've ever sat down and really talked some of this stuff through.
Probably not. because
se?
we didn't have conversations modeled for us at all.
Yeah.
Conversations about anything.
Correct. So,
So we probably didn't talk about it.
so what was some of the reactions that you got when you were to write the book? Were they kind of expected, not expected, or you know?
For the
when you would
most
tell
part,
people?
my siblings received very well and encouraged me to put it out there because I mean everybody I think read it before it was published, and the parentals, I took a day and spent time with each one of them separately to share what I wrote in the book with them separately. One reacted in a way that I did not expect, and I was pleasantly surprised, and the other reacted in a way that I also did not expect, and I was surprised about that.
Yeah.
Hopefully the book will open conversations for other people and their families, and people just reflection on their lives and their experience, to open up conversations about things that we need to talk about.
I will say that my mom read the book.
Oh, wow.
And she enjoyed it, and it has opened up conversations. So this past week I went over there, and we were talking about the purity culture thing, and I was like, how come you never told me nothing? And she was like, she gave her answer, whatever. And I was like, do you know, I'm 40. I am the baby girl. So my oldest sister is 48, and nobody knows your experience as a woman. And she was like, I never thought about it. And she sat at the table and, gave me, obviously not all of it, but, gave me more information than I had ever had in life of just knowing, like, how did you get to this point? Like, I've known you as my mother my whole life, but like as a woman, like, how did you get here? And like, how do you feel about your life and your experiences, and like, what was hard for you? You know what I'm saying? And actually was able to like identify like some generational things that were passed down with the women in our family, where it was like, oh, you went through that? Grandma went through that? If y'all would have told me,
Exactly,
I wouldn't have had to go through the same thing. But now that I see it, I get it. Like,
or could at least set you up to kind of try to avoid the pitfall,
or to at least know what I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh, thanks, guys. Like, I felt like I was set up for the okie doke a little bit, but the flip side of it is doing what you intended for it to do, because the way I felt about it after I read it, which it's an excellent book, guys. You should go get it.
It really is.
The way I felt about it was like, I didn't grow up as strict as you guys did. Like, my parents weren't necessarily like forthright with information, but generally speaking, if you asked them a question, they would give you a version of an answer. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, go sit down and shut up all the time. Sometimes, not all the time. But, I might not have gotten the adult answer, but I might have gotten something. But with this, it was like, where you are, knowing how strict you grew up, if you had the confidence and the boldness to be able to put something like this out, surely I could ask a question. Like, what's that? What harm is that going to do? Like, you know what I'm saying? And so it really gave me the strength and the wherewithal to just kind of walk in and be like, what do I have to lose? Like, you either gonna tell me or you're not. And if you don't, then I'm just back at square one. Like, I didn't lose anything. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's been conversations that have been had, and even with my sisters. Wow. Like, hearing how you guys were in the same room experiencing the same things differently.
We were across the hall.
Across the hall. But in that situation, but sometimes in the actual same room. Like, and knowing how you guys experience stuff differently. I call my sister like, hey, you remember when this happened? How did you take that? Like, what was your perspective of that? And how did that shape your thought process about that scenario versus, and they've never thought about me being a baby, how I've seen things versus how they had to process it, because both of my sisters are the big sister.
Got it.
Because my oldest sister didn't live in our house. So she was the big sister at her house. Then my middle sister was the big sister at our house. So they have these big sister perspectives, and I'm the baby. Like, it didn't go like that at all. Actually, that's not how it happened. So, kudos to you.
Yeah, that's
in writing the book.
Yeah.
It's helping families already.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
One thing I know is that it's important to give the kids the keys.
Yeah.
I remember one time my granddaughter was she was a toddler playing with my car keys, and she kept picking them up. And I'm like, Lord, what's going on with this baby? It won't give me the He said, give the kids the keys. Let them know the things that they need to know so that they don't go through the same things that you went through.
Yeah.
Give the kids the keys.
Yeah.
Why do you think that generation particularly did not really talk to us or tell us anything, or it was kind of like a closed off thing?
Yeah.
Because I've even asked Mom certain things, and it was a little
hard to get it out.
Sometimes, yeah. And being that she was saved in the church, I thought it would be easier. Like, because what am I gonna do with the information? Like, I'm just trying to figure out a few things, and then we could get information from Dad, but it was just the information. When he felt like talking, he would just spew how he felt about everything, but it was not conversational.
Right.
There was very few conversations, even up to this day, that I've had with Dad that were actually conversations.
Informative.
Yeah.
An exchange. He means.
Yeah, like a real conversation where it's like, oh, I understand what you're saying. Now here's what I'm saying.
Right.
And it's received. Like, I can probably count on maybe two hands times we've actually had conversations that he actually received something as opposed to just talking at me. Or, you know what I mean? So what do you think it was about that generation that kind of kept information, or that didn't have that kind of communication? Or was it the generation?
Maybe it was a combination of them not being comfortable talking, and then probably something that they picked up from the generation before them, because maybe their parents didn't talk to them either. I'm not sure.
Yeah. How going back to your reference with the keys, how did that show up? Because by the time you got that revelation, your granddaughter was a toddler,
Right.
assuming your children were older.
Exactly.
So how do you feel like you have tried to parent your children in a way that is healthier than maybe what you may have received as a child?
Probably being more open to hear them, being more open to a discussion. I wouldn't necessarily call myself the quote unquote liberal parent, because I think I still kind of held some of that quote unquote strictness. But I would take the opportunity to hear them, to talk to them, to get their ideas, thoughts, and kind of see, what are you thinking, and why are you thinking like this, and why did you do X, Y, and Z? Of course, they sometimes can't give me answers of why they did whatever it was that they did. But I think just being more open to hear and more open to listen, and not automatically shut down whatever it is that they're thinking or feeling or experiencing was something that helped.
Were you open as far as like the stories of your life? Like, if they read your book today, is this new information to them, or
I think
have they heard a version of it?
I think some of it will be new information to them.
Okay.
Yes. They've heard a version of a few of the stories, but then some of the stuff will be new information to them. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Wow.
All right. Any thoughts?
I got a few thoughts, but
Express yourself.
I hear you
sir.
thinking, so I'm trying not to.
Express yourself.
I'm trying not to move too fast.
So how was that relationship though growing up? Because you did talk about some things that happened growing up,
Right.
some challenges and things of that nature between parents and us. So how was that
dynamic?
Yeah, like, how did you kind of get through? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, how did you work through processing all of those things that happened over the years? Because these weren't one-off things.
Right.
It was a lot of there was some verbal abuse. There was some other things
Right.
that happened because Dad was not saved, Mom was saved, and there were some family dynamics.
Right.
of drinking, drug, you know, things of that nature. So how did you balance it throughout your life to where you didn't necessarily carry it with you? Or did you carry some of that stuff with you?
I think I did carry some of it with me simply because I think it's so deeply ingrained. But what I did find is that when I started intentionally doing self work, meaning investing in my own personal growth and spiritual growth, as far as seeking out resources, therapy, and things of that nature, it helped me work through it. And I think it's a continual work in progress because I don't think you'll ever get there. And then just asking God, like, please, Lord, you seen how deeply ingrained this is in me. You have to heal me and you have to set me free from this stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's been a continual work in process, like even to this day.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe I've experienced quite a bit of that. Even with relationships, because I know I've lost quite a few relationships because of my interactions, because of expectations, and then the way I show up or have shown up in the past. With false expectations for people, number one, and then not being able to communicate properly,
Right.
number two, and then shutting down, number three. But it was like, you know, whatever happens here stays here. Whatever happened in group one, stay in group one, you know. And growing up and becoming a man, I saw how I get the premise, but I saw also how it affected my interpersonal relationships and how I was not able to talk and how I was not able to communicate and how I was not able to understand other people because I was misunderstood, but I also didn't have a voice, you know? So in turn, it makes you have to do a lot of self-work, so to speak, especially with walking with God, if you're going to walk with God for real, because you have to unlearn a lot of things. You have to be healed from a lot of things, like the unforgiveness of your parents because they did the best that they could do, you know, and then seeing it from their perspective as well, because it's different when you are not a parent versus when you become a parent.
Surely.
Because then the things that you were angry with them about, some of it you start understanding a little bit different. Once you become a parent, it's like, oh, I see. So you have to be extremely intentional about how you approach your children and how you approach your spouse. And some of it you, at least for me, I had to learn like the hard way because I made so many mistakes. And well, it's supposed to be like this. And the man is supposed to show up like this because this is what I seen. And be quiet when I'm talking. And, you know, these false scenario, like this is not how relationships work.
Right.
And it's kind of unlearning and then actually allowing the Holy Spirit to reteach you certain things. It's a hard dynamic though, you know, because you're trying to balance what you think is right and what you think you know versus what's actually happening. And you're wondering why these results aren't there. Like, well, this is how it's supposed to be. This is what church is. This is what a woman's supposed to be. This is how a wife's supposed to show up. This is how I'm supposed to show up. And all of it is wrong.
Right.
You know, even from the church perspective to even from how you were taught by your father, because it was so extreme. Like you're in church all day, every day, and God is going to fix it. And you don't deal with nothing.
Yeah.
To the extreme of you not getting over what happened in your childhood. So therefore, we got to live through your childhood every other day. And your hurts and your pains and your frustrations and your anger. And you actually are not dealing with anything either. You don't know how to talk. You just know how to talk at people. You know what I mean? So it's really trying to fix and bridge all these gaps and missing pieces. But I did learn that God really will help you once you start being honest, like what you said.
Right.
With God, like when you threw the calculator and you actually got honest with him. That's when I started really developing a relationship with God. I think in my 30s. I got real honest and had some real hard moments and had some real hard decisions to make.
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh, God, I don't really know what to do with this because I thought it was this and it's not that. I seen this and it's not that either. So what is all this?
Yeah.
You know, so have you had that moment like where it's like, okay, this is not that, that's not that. This doesn't work, that doesn't work. Okay, what does that moment look like for you?
That moment looked like for me, probably sitting in the middle of the floor with a headscarf on, in tears, on my knees, asking God to help me because, like you said, things fall apart. And when they do, if you don't have a real relationship and a real connection with God, you can just go to the floor and never get up. And when I say go to the floor, I mean just be down, depressed. And if you don't have people that you can talk to, don't have people that you can be honest with, especially if you're considered the strong one, like, who do you talk to? Of course you talk to God, but you also need somebody to pray with you, somebody to help you get out of your head and out of that circle of despair. And what that looked like for me is, like you said, being honest. And it's easier to not be honest, to say, oh, I'm okay. I'll get through it. I'll work it out.
Yeah.
Because you're used to doing everything yourself. And that's not even relying on the Holy Ghost. Like, if you don't rely on God, you don't have much strength. I mean, our human strength and our ability is so limited that if we don't depend on God, we're going down anyway.
Yeah. Very true. I think too, with what you were saying, I think it also, how you look at those situations is also a part of your gifting, right? So like when you were talking, you were like, like, I need order. Like, that's what I heard. Like, like, this is supposed to be like this and it's not like this. And so what, I'm having an issue with that. But that's also, God had to pull that out because that's the apostolic. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like you had to not only have the experience, but your brain had to frame the experience the way it did in order for you to get to a place where it's like, order is very important to me, and God is like, yep, that's what I needed. You know what I'm saying? Same with you. Like, it wasn't until you got your life together and you like cried out to God and he was like, yep, there go that intercessor part of you I needed. And now that can go on and come up to the surface and I can use that based off of your life experiences, because you had to go through all of those things to get to a place where it's like, I am fully dependent on you. Truly. And it's like, great, now you can be between the porch and the altar because you understand what full reliance on God is. So that makes you a successful intercessor. When y'all was telling y'all stories, I was thinking I used to cuss my parents out. Well, not literally cuss them out, but I was the rebel. You know what I'm saying? Like, and even if you talk to my mom, like, I probably was the person who wasn't actually doing anything wrong in the house, but because I was so overly vocal, like, I was almost demonized for it, where it was like, you got to be up to something because you always got something to say. And it's like, well, I do always have something to say, but that's the prophetic. I always got something to say, and I always want to say what's right. And y'all mad at me because I'm calling everybody out to the carpet, and now I'm too grown and I do too much and I know too much, and now I'm in trouble and I'm on punishment and you need to learn how to shut up. But in actuality, God was like, I needed you to fight for that part of you because that was the part I was planning on using. So I think when you hear theologians say that we are a sum total of our experiences, that's where that comes into play, that you have to kind of go through the experience and receive your perspective of it, because I think about how you guys went through what y'all went through, and I'm like, I don't think I'd have made it because I'm so vocal. Like, that none of that would have scared me because I don't operate in fear like that. You know what I'm saying? And so it'd be like, you sit down. Actually, you need to sit down.
Who's you talking to?
See what I'm saying? And now y'all
put
put dirt on my face because I didn't make it. Like,
we ought to be like,
yeah, but
she want to die today.
Yeah, well, but that's just kind of how I say before I think sometimes, but sometimes it's really the Holy Ghost that's like trying to call people up. But anywho, so I think though that when you look at your life and you realize what you've been through and how you've been through it and how you've gotten to the place that you are, where you have the den experience and then you get to the other side of it, then all the light bulbs start going off and it's like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
I had to go through that. I had to experience that.
Mhm.
I had to be there at that time because now it's created me into the person that God has needed me to be to serve.
Amen.
So,
Amen.
Yeah.
yep. I guess we'll end on that note.
Okay.
All right. So tell the people where they can find you and your TikTok videos and how to purchase your book.
Okay, the book can be purchased on my on my author website, LamicaBurnettBooks.com, and I am on Instagram and TikTok at Lamica Burnette.
Fantastic. And I will ask, I didn't ask my last question. So if you had someone who was reading your book and you could say something to them right now, whether it is a word of encouragement, a prayer, something that you hope that they glean from the book, what would be your word of encouragement to the people?
My word of encouragement is that God sees you and he knows you right where you are. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to use King James Version language to pray. Like, God sees you where you are. He knows everything about you. He's just waiting for you to come to him in honesty and in sincerity, and he'll meet you right there.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah,
We
thank you.
appreciate you.
Thank
Absolutely. Amazing job. As always, we actually have our Patreon that is watching us live right now and interacting with us. And so if you would like to be a part of our Patreon community and partner with us for as little as $5 a month, you can see our podcast live as well as our services. Feel free to join us, patreon.com/the DN for as little as $5 a month, as well as if you are in the metropolitan Detroit area, we do have Dominion Nation Training Center, which is the DN in real life, in real time. Every second and fourth Saturday, we are located at 32744 Annapolis and Wayne, Michigan. And we would love to see you, where we talk about giftings and learning more about who you are in Christ and Christ himself, and kind of growing up in God so that we may be able to take our gifts into the world. We are on social media, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all the things, Dominion Nation TC. And so follow us, like, share, and subscribe. And we appreciate you all for viewing us today.
Remember, everybody has a den. The goal is not to avoid every hard place. It's to come out with more faith, wisdom, and a better sense of who you are. This is the den.
Amen.
Until next time.
Bye, guys.
Peace.